Good afternoon everyone and welcome to Shenington. You join us here for round number 2 of the UK Kart Series in 2026. And what a bumper roster of action we've got coming at you this afternoon. 7 different finals to come this afternoon, and it's sure to be very, very exciting. As you can see, out on circuit, we've had a little bit of precipitation, to say the least, over the last hour or so. Looks as though, for the moment anyway, it's started to clear up, but how quickly the drivers will clear that water, I'm not quite so sure. So we'll see whether at any point over the finals we'll be looking at slick tyres. But for the moment, drivers certainly staying on those wet tyres. Of course, you join us here for round number 2. We're still at the opening section of the season for the moment. Drivers starting to settle into championship proceedings, but still the floodgates are wide open here for a positive performance for a driver to slingshot their way up the championship and get some positive momentum to move on through the rest of the season. Of course, we've already had lots of exciting action at Fullbeck last time out. That was just over a month or so ago. You join us here in the middle of April then at Shenington. What a beautiful circuit to be visiting, and we like it so much we had to do it twice this season. We'll be back again for round number 9 at the end of the season. I'm sure the comms will be very different for that as we talk about lots of championship permutations, but for today we'll focus on what the drivers are doing out on the black stuff. We're about ready to go for the first final of the afternoon, and of course we kick off with some of our Bambino drivers. It's Coma Bambinos and Iame Bambinos up first. Straight out onto the circuit then come some of our youngest drivers out there racing today, and our only split grid final of the day as well here, with both the Comas and the Iames on the track at the same time. Have a little look through the grid then before they get underway then. In the Iames, it's Shay Downey on pole position. He's won 3 from 3 in the heats today here. Maximum possible points from today so far. He's going to be feeling very positive moving into this final. Stanley Thurston joins him on the front row with Teddy Smith and Jack Rossi Minute on row 2. Of course, Jack Rossi was very dominant back at Fullbeck, hence he's rocking that UK plate. Jed Evans and George Miller on the row behind him, with Henry Exton, Isaac Taylor, Oakley Rudman and Presley Knight rounding out the order of 10 drivers there in Iame M1s. Matthew Pearson takes pole position in Bambino Comas. Of course, he was your final victor back at Fullbeck. Looks as though he's carried on that momentum here into Shenington. Again, a very positive day for him so far. However, in the Comas, we've had 3 different heat winners so far from today. Matthew Pearson on the front row, along with Jace Hannon. Then Noah Gallagher there on row number 2. He's joined by Logan Grassi. And then it's Dalton Dyke Whitfield, Reggie Rhodes, and Jax Wilmington, who round up the grid then in Bambinos. We watch and wait for the flag to drop. It drops now, and the finals are underway here at Shenington. The drivers fly on down through to the first couple of corners. They slingshot down through the left-hander of Park Bend. Then it's through Cafe. We see them now head through there, through the right-hander. Seemingly all the drivers getting off the start line very, very well, which is good to see. You can already see, though, those little bits of standing water there through Cafe. Drivers got to watch out for that, even on these wet tyres. Still, standing water can quite easily catch you out. So just got to make sure you're being extra careful. Move up the inside there, potentially for second place there in the Bambino Comas as they continue to battle out of the corner as well. There's a nice move up the inside there as we head down into the chicane. The 34 of George Miller making up a place. That's getting back through then on Henry Exton as those two continue to squabble over 6th place. Attempted to move up the inside there ahead as they battle over 4th place, threading the needle there, attempting there. That was Rossi Minner and Jed Evans, I believe, they're squabbling over P4. And there's a thought there about a move for 3rd place from the 19 of Teddy Smith. He can't quite get alongside this time, though, as they head out of Wilkins Complex, and that's already the end of lap number 1. Not the longest kart circuit here at Shenington. A very unique track, though, all about carrying that momentum through the corners, particularly in these lower powered karts such as these. Big check over the shoulder then from Stanley Thurston. He's lost the place then on the first lap of the race. Sorry, I say lost the place. Of course, it was Shay Downey who started in pole position on this one. So Shay's held on to it, and Stanley very much thinking about Teddy Smith in behind as we're side by side for 4th place then. That's Jed Evans and Jack Rossi Minner battling, and Rossi Minner is through then. As we say, he's rocking that UK plate courtesy of his round victory at round number 1. And, well, he's doing a pretty solid job here in the final so far. 10 minutes plus 1 lap on the clock for this one and all the rest of the finals throughout this afternoon. And already, seemingly, Rossi Minna finding a bit of pace as he looks to chase down our top 3. There was another thought there down into the Wilkins complex from Teddy Smith. But whether he's got the move done or not, I'm not so sure. Let's wait and see as he comes across the line there. Leaders still absolutely line astern. Has it changed? Yes, it has. Teddy Smith through then into second place, and he points forward now, wants to work together with Stanley Thurston as he looks to hunt down Shay Downey. As I mentioned, bit wide there through Cafe. Kicking up the spray was Teddy Smith. That's lost him a bit of momentum, and actually might now, the pendulum might swing back the way of Stanley Thurston. Right on the wheel tracks of Teddy Smith as they head into the braking zone, but not able to make a move to the inside. Well, initially, it looked as though Teddy had the momentum there to look to launch an attack on Shay Downey, but it's not going to happen. He's fallen back into the clutches of Stanley Thurston, and they stay as they were. But wow, look at that momentum carry through the corner there of chicane for Teddy Smith. Perfectly done. He's going to carry that momentum all the way down the back straight. Down through Hangar they go, which is a sketchy corner the best of times, let alone when there's a lot of standing water down there. The driver's doing a good job in and of themselves to just keep it on the black stuff for one, really, in this one. But look at this. I thought there might be an attempted attack here for the race lead from Teddy Smith, but no, here comes Stanley Thurston, attempting it back through on the inside, but closing the door is Teddy Smith. Or has he? No, he hasn't, sorry. Teddy Smith has indeed closed the door. Apologies there. We've switched around, so of course they went side by side across the line there. But Smith closes the door and does indeed hold on to the lead then. Yellow flags there down through those first couple of corners, so potentially we've got a driver off down there. No moves made from these drivers at the sharp end, at least in their Iame M1s for the moment. And it potentially might be Jed Evans then on the E-plate. I think it is. He's dropping down the order on the timing tower on the left-hand side of your screen. So Jed Evans, I think the driver off then down through the first couple of corners. A shame for the E-plate, dropping down all the way to the back of the pack. Just to highlight as well those comas, it is still Matthew Pearson from the pole position slot on the grid, who continues to hold that race lead then. Jace Hannon and Noah Gallagher going with him though, as here we go down into Stratford corner once more. And those were the drivers, I do believe, on those orange plates, battling over the sharp end of the order in our Coma Bambinos. There's the E-plate of Reggie Rhodes. He was looking very feisty last time out at fullback was Reggie, but he spins! Reggie Rhodes spins off the road. A shame there. Just tried to carry a little bit too much speed into the chicane. You saw the rear got all sorts of light there, and he couldn't quite catch the slide. Round goes Reggie Rhodes, just as I was praising him for his racecraft back at fullback. Sadly, the grip has failed him there, and round he goes as another driver pulls off the circuit. They're on the exit of Wilkins Complex. The 22 pulls up, and that's Noah Gallagher out of the race. What a shame, from third place. Noah had one hand on that podium trophy, but he's out, as just about we are about to hit half race distance in this one. So a bit of a racer attrition already in this one. Drivers going off left, right and centre. Well, Reggie Rhodes, that was definitely a mistake from Reggie. However, that issue for Noah Gallagher looked a lot more mechanical, I do believe, there, as we saw him just pull off to the side. A real shame there for Noah. But again, another driver out of this race. Well, Shay Downey still leading the way, and we can watch here. This is Henry Exton heading around the middle of the circuit here on number 32, so he's still holding firm in 5th position, is Henry at the moment, doing a good job in his replica Lando Norris lid there. I see loads of different younger drivers now, particularly in the Bambinos, wearing Lando Norris lids. But it's lovely to see the drivers, of course, loving their Formula One drivers, and of course aspiring to get there one day themselves. It's lovely to see the drivers taking to the track and the continued improvements across the races, across the rounds as well. It's awesome to see, and it doesn't mean just because these drivers are young there's not great battling out there on circuit. I mean, we've shown that already in this final, and we've got another Bambino final to come after this as well, so make sure you stick around throughout this afternoon. We've got plenty of races. As I mentioned, 7 finals in total this afternoon, and 2 different finals for the British Pro Kart Championship, both a B and an A final for those, so make sure you stick around. That's going to be very exciting, as again, a little half spin this time for another one of our Iame drivers. Who was that? Was that the 95 of Isaac Taylor? I think it is. Yes, Isaac Taylor then, a little half spin through the Stratford hairpin. But he's managed to hold it okay. Well done to him. Isaac continues to press on then. We just got under 3.5 minutes left to go in this first final of the day. Then still Shay Downey leading the way at the sharp end here in Iame M1s. So as we mentioned then, coming into today, Matthew Pearson leads the championship in Como Bambinos. 169 points for him versus 156 for Reggie Rhodes, or with that spin for Reggie, dropping him slightly down the order. And Matthew Pearson still holding on to the race lead here in Comas. This is going to be a very positive round for him if he can continue this on, get those points in the bank, and then press on through to round 3 next time out. In Iame Bambinos, it is Henry Exton who leads the championship on 172 points, but as I mentioned, it was Jack Rossi Minna who won the final at round number 1. And Rossi Minna continuing to chase down our top 3. He's trying to close up now to Stanley Thurston in 3rd place as they continue to press on through this final. 2.5 minutes now left to go on the clock. There is the number 19, I believe that was, of Teddy Smith pressing on through. Yes, it was indeed. As you can see, the green-plated drivers just cutting through some of our Como Bambino drivers. There is the 28 of Stanley Thurston, who now finds himself in a bit of a Como Bambino sandwich there as he tries to hook up the exit. He'll do the up and under there out of the chicane, and will continue to drag all the way down the back straight. So Rossi Minna's close, but not close enough to think about a move on Stanley Thurston. And here is your race leader in the Iame M1s then, if I can put my teeth in. Shay Downey leads us through then. Only a couple of laps to go in this one, and he has consistently eked out that race lead ever since we looked away from him to have a look at some other battles down the order. He's now extended the gap to over 3 seconds ahead of Teddy Smith. A 59.5 fastest lap of the race for Shay Downey. And I think the key thing for Shay is he's consistently down in the 59s as well. A 59.6 on the last lap, a good 4/10 quicker than the likes of Teddy Smith. Good second and a half quicker than the rest of the chasing drivers. Drivers in the mid-pack, like Sir Henry Exton, George Miller, Matthew Pearson, all continuing to pick up the pace. But of course, Matthew leading the way in the Comas. So still slight bit of pace difference then between the two classes. So we're down into the 59s for the front runners in M1s, but it's a 1 minute and 5 for Matthew Pearson, best time at the moment. But that is 3 seconds clear of the next fastest time in Bambino Comas. Very impressive from Matthew Pearson. He's very deserving of maximum points from this race. Isaac Taylor gets back through on Matthew Pearson then. Understandably so, with that additional pace he has underneath him, courtesy of that Iame engine. We continue to press on through this final then. 45 seconds still left to go on the clock, but Shay Downey looks to have this one almost wrapped up. Now nearly 5 seconds in the lead of this race. There was a new personal best on the lap before last from Teddy Smith. He now jumps down into the 59s, a 59.958 for Teddy. But on that previous lap, he jumped back into the 101s, just not able to match the consistency at the moment of this driver on your screens of Shay Downey. So he continues on through the chicane, and that timer continues to tick down then. We're getting close enough here to the final lap of proceedings. Will it quite tick down far enough here as you come down into the Wilkins complex out of Hanger Corner? It's such a difficult one to get right because you do still have a little bit of steering angle on as you try to chuck on the anchors there into the Wilkins complex. So it's dancing that car under brakes, but also using that slide a little bit to carry on the speed out of the corner, because as we mentioned earlier, it's all about carrying speed around this circuit. Every single corner then leads onto a very long straight on this circuit, so you're much better to sacrifice the corner entry and make up that time on the corner exit, and that seems to be exactly what Shay Downey is doing so well in this final so far. The number 51 continues to lead us there down through into Stratford, and he's got less than a lap to continue on, less than a kilometre before we can get his hands on that trophy. But Teddy Smith and Stanley Thurston might be battling here for second place as they exit the Stratford hairpin. I think those two were almost going side by side. Well, Shay Downey doesn't have anything to worry about, especially if those two continue to battle him, as now our leader heads down into the final couple of corners then. Here is Shay Downey. What a performance from him so far today. As I mentioned as we kicked off the race, your pole sitter for this one, he's won all 3 heats from today, and he's going to make it 4 races from 4. The final in Iame M1 goes to Shay Downey. He sees the checkered flag first and wins in Iame M1. But who will take second place? Those two were battling throughout throughout that final lap. Who's it going to go to? It's Stanley Thurston. He gets Teddy Smith on the final lap. Brilliant drive back there from Stanley Thurston. He found pace in the second half of the race, chased back down Teddy Smith and stole second place away. Jack Rossi Minute this time just misses out on the overall podium. A shame for him. And we've already seen Matthew Pearson come across the line. He wins in the e-bambinos. Brilliant race from Matthew Pearson as Jace Hannon takes second place in the Comas and Logan Grassi finishing in third. What a race then to kick off the proceedings here in the finals from round 2 of the UK Kart Series. But Shay Downey wins it ahead of Stanley Thurston and Teddy Smith. Then Jack Rossi Minute, your UK plate winner from round number 1, has to settle outside of the podium this time, sadly for him, as here are those full results. Henry Exton rounds out the top 5 in Iame M1s, followed by George Miller and Isaac Taylor. Then on the Bambino Comas, Matthew Pearson, as we say, what a race from him, winning by, you can see there on the right hand side of your screen, over 18 seconds in a 10-minute plus 1 lap race. That's unbelievable from Matthew Pearson. Fair play to the driver of the number 45, Jace Hannon, and Logan Grassi in the top 3, followed by Dalton Dyke Whitfield, then Jax Wilmington, followed by Reggie Rhodes, and Noah Gallagher rounded out the order. Of course, sadly, we lost Noah Gallagher a good 8 or so laps ago, pulling over to the side of the circuit there out at the final corner, and the same, sadly, for Jed Evans as well in Iame M1s. We lost him a lap earlier than Noah, also pulling over to the side of the circuit. A real shame there for those two drivers, but there we go then. Already one of our 7 finals from this afternoon in the bank. Iame M1s and Bambino Comas, they are done and dusted for the weekend here at round number 2 of the UK Kart Series. But as I mentioned earlier, we've still got some more Bambino action to come, and we put those petrol-powered engines to the side and we look to electric power for the next one. Up next, it is the final for our Might e-bambinos. Right then, soon enough we'll see those Mighties come out on circuit, and you'll notice a particular change in engine notes in these ones, particularly that these don't have any engine notes. Very silent. I always find it odd when I pull up to the circuit. It's totally silent. You can occasionally hear the tyres squealing as they head on round, but in these damp conditions, we're not even going to have that as well. It'll simply be the rattling of the carts underneath the drivers, and maybe some shouting if we get any frustrated Bambino drivers out there as well. Well, let's have a look at the grid then. Pole position, Rafe Verdi takes pole in this one. He's had a very positive day from this one so far. Of course, Racing Rafe, as he's known on social media. Jules Nash will join Rafe on the front row, with Oliver Reynolds and Arthur Etherington on row number 2. Teddy Veslowski and Ayrton Ayula are on row 3. Ayrton, your championship leader heading in today. They're starting from row number 3. Joshua Chung and Aidan Castleman are on row 4, followed by Emerson Elia and Max West on row 5. They round out the top 10. They're followed by Ayrton Tennant and Oscar Osborne. Then it's Harriet Jones and Archie Watkins on row 7. And then row 8, finalising the grid, are Oliver Mullen and Cruz Rogers. Those 16 drivers on the grid then for this Might e-Bambino final. Fantastic to have the Mighties back once again. And as I mentioned, Ayrton Ayula winning, or in the hot seat in the championships, I should say. 6 points ahead of Jensen Paris after round number 1, and Rafe Verdi, your pole sitter, 3rd in the championship going into today. Well, the flag drops and we're racing once again here at Shenington, and it will be Rafe Verdi who leads us down into the first couple of corners. And as I mentioned earlier, a significant lack of noise from these drivers than what we had in the first heat of the day, but that doesn't mean a significant lack of exciting racing. These Mighty Bambinos always put on a show, and let's see how they go then as they press on for their 10-minute plus 1 lap final. Already Rafe Verdi and Jules Nash looking to break away at the sharp end. I think it's Oliver Reynolds who's trying to go with them at the moment, but a significant split then back to the following drivers. Was that a spin there? It was indeed. One driver goes for a spin, and so does a second. The second one was Ayrton Tennant there on the 48. I think it was our 3rd or 4th place driver though who went for a spin initially, potentially Arthur Etherington, maybe Ayrton Ayula who's gone for a spin there. We'll double check that when they come across the line after lap number 1. Well, there we can see who's up to 3rd place. It's Teddy Veslowski on the 25. What a start from Teddy Veslowski. I thought it was Oliver Reynolds who'd gone with them, but no, it is Veslowski. Fantastic start from the young driver, and he's looking to chase down our 2 race leaders. Well, it is Jules Nash who's going to lead us through onto lap number 2. Then a great start to this race for Jules. He's made the jump on Rafe Verdi already, but Rafe very much going with him. So there we go then. 3 places gained for Teddy Veselowski, 3 places gained for Aidan Castleman, 3 places gained for Joshua Chung, and 3 places gained for Max West. So a great start to the race for all 4 of those drivers. As a bit too much water taken there on the inside apex curb, and the 40 follows around as well, and so does another driver. 3 spins there through Cafe Curve. That can always be the case, particularly in younger drivers like this. When someone spins ahead of you, it's so easy to grab those brakes, and you end up going for a spin yourself. So a few drivers falling by the wayside there down at Cafe Curve. It was a good attempt at the move on the inside there from the initial spinner, but found that wet patch on the apex, and round they went. Still had that steering lock on as they tried to apply the power, and the kart didn't want to do that. Round it goes, and they find themselves dropping down to the back of the order. A real shame for them, but of course, fastest lap off of the start goes to Jules Nash. Let's see what Jules does on this full proper lap of proceedings. Of course, a standing start for the previous final. Same for this one as well, and we'll have the same for the Honda Cadets next time out, and then we will move on to rolling starts through the rest of the day. 103.9 then for Jules Nash, but it's actually Aidan Castleman in 4th place who's taken the fastest lap of a 103.753. Clearly the assistance from the karting coach, Mr. Josh Mercer, helping Aidan Castleman out there as he finds a new fastest lap of the race. Can he find a way through on Teddy Veselowski? He looks for it there, down at Stratford Bend, and he's got it done. As there's 2 more spinners in the background. That, I think, was Oliver Reynolds and Max West potentially spinning round. Oscar Osborne, Cruz Rogers, all in a similar area of the circuit as well. A real shame for those drivers again. So really, in this final, if you can keep it on the black stuff and keep yourself facing in the right direction, you're on for potentially quite a decent result here. Just try to make sure you don't find yourself facing in the wrong direction. I mean, that's a pretty good rule to live by if you're a racing driver, to be fair, as there's another move there down at the final corner. Lovely switchback, though, from the 77 of Oliver Reynolds, and he finds his way back through then. So potentially that was Max West still battling with him. Who's going to drop down the order? So it's Joshua Chung who spun down there with Max West, and who went with them? Was it Cruz Rogers potentially? So Max West comes through in 8th, Joshua Chung comes through in 9th. I think potentially it was then Cruz Rogers. He comes through now in 10th place. So again, a reshuffle of the order once more there on lap number 3. We head towards to lap number 4, and now it's Oliver Reynolds who takes the fastest lap of the race. So plenty of drivers to be watching out for here in this Might e-bambino final. And it just seems as though these chasing drivers are settling into pace. Although it is a 103.8 from Jules Nash, so it's only a 10th or 2 being gained by those chasing drivers, but as they say at Tesco, every little helps. And let's see how quickly they can catch these top 3 then. Castleman still the one leading the charge for those top 3, but here's the 77 of Oliver Reynolds continuing to look feisty. He has the fastest lap of the race, and he now has 4th place. There he goes on Veselowski, but no, Veselowski chops across on corner exit and points forward. He wants to work together here with Reynolds, but I'm not sure Reynolds is going to be too happy there with the overtake. I think he wants to scamper off clear and be the one to lead them to chase back down Aidan Castleman, who has well and truly broken away from these 3. They're bringing Arthur Etherington, though, into the fight. He wants to get involved now with this exciting fun, and there you go. Just getting the drive off the corner there is the 77 of Oliver Reynolds, and Reynolds finally does get the move done then. 2nd time of asking for Reynolds, and he's through into P4. Well, these 3 drivers probably start need to working together a little bit more now. Well, that wasn't working together, but it seems like it might have worked then for Arthur Etherington. He pulls alongside now of Teddy Veselowski. Veselowski will look to hang it around the outside, which will of course become the inside there for the left-hander of chicane. Hanging it around the outside, attempting there was Arthur Etherington. Nearly squeezed over that exit curb, but he keeps on the black stuff, keeps on the circuit. Has to slot in behind though, sadly, of Teddy Veselowski. Well, some great initial pace in this race from Teddy Veselowski, as that's a big move down the inside. So late on the brakes. Fantastic move there from Arthur Etherington. That was full commitment into the Wilkins complex, and it's paid off. He sends it down the inside, and on again, 2nd time of asking on Teddy Veselowski, makes his way through. So Veselowski, sadly for him, losing 2 positions there on lap number 5. Well, as I was saying, Veselowski with some great early pace making his way through the order, but as the rest of the drivers around him have settled into pace, Veselowski at the moment not quite able to match with the drivers around him. That last lap of 105.2, whereas Oliver Reynolds, who made the overtake on him on the last lap, don't forget, popped in a 102.8, a good half a second quicker than any of the drivers that he's chasing down ahead of him. Here we look back to your race leader of Jules Nash. Has he done enough here in the early stages? Look how much he's broken away from Ray Birdie. There's a good 8, 10 kart lengths, or at least 10 mighty Bambino kart lengths between the two of these drivers. Not the biggest of karts, these ones, but understandably so for the age of the drivers racing them. Well, Jules Nash will head round the final corner once again and lead us on to a new lap of proceedings. Reynolds still with that fastest lap. 102.8 for him, 103.1 for Castleman, 103.1 for Rafe Birdie, and a 102.9 for Jules Nash. 3.5 minutes still left to go in this final then. Continue to follow your race leader here on the number 18. So as I was chatting before the race then, Ayrton Ayula, great round it was for him at round number 1. Doesn't look like it's gone his way though, sadly, here in the final. He just made a move on the previous lap on Cruz Rogers to get himself back into the top 10, and he's about to gain another place as well, courtesy of Joshua Chung's mechanical flag. What a shame for the driver of the number 42. He'll be heading back into pit lane a little bit earlier than he would have expected. And sadly, Joshua Chung out of the race then with a couple of minutes to go. Can't quite see what it is that's caused that mechanical flag, but people much smarter than me have clearly seen something. He's got to make his way back into pit lane now. If he doesn't follow his mechanical flags, he'll be getting himself a black flag and more than likely a disqualification from the race anyway. So either way, whether he does or doesn't come in for the said mechanical flag, it will be 0 points, sadly, for him from this race. A real shame then for Joshua Chung after that spin down at Stratford earlier on. He settled back into the race well, but clearly something on the car not quite right. Well, we've had a change for third place then. We said Oliver Reynolds, his lap times were fantastic, and he's been chasing down Aidan Castleman, and now he's found a way through on Aidan Castleman. First driver down into the 101s is Oliver Reynolds, and he's now got about 1.7 seconds in between himself and Rafe Birdie. And on the previous lap, he was around 9/10 quicker than Rafe. So Oliver Reynolds getting properly fired up here on the number 77. He is flying through in this final. Whether he simply is taking to these conditions like a duck to water, pun intended, or whether the team around him, whether that be Dad or mechanic or whoever, has got this kart set up perfectly for these conditions. Either way, it seems to be working well. But you can already see, with a bit of sunshine that we've had here over the first two finals, and of course the wet tyres as well, clearing a bit of water, you can already see the dry line starting to form around here at Shenington. So maybe we will, of course, touch wood, touching wood here in the commentary box, that is barring any serious precipitation continuing on this afternoon, and I think we are potentially expecting some. I know we expect to have some around now, but there's potential maybe it came a little bit early. We did have a serious downpour, maybe about 30 or 40 minutes before we went live here from Shenington. Hopefully it holds off though, and I look forward to seeing when the switchover is to those slick tyres. Well, look at this. Rafe Birdie is under a lot of pressure there in the background from Oliver Reynolds. Birdie was a little bit slidey there out of the Stratford corner, and Reynolds got a lovely exit. Has Reynolds been able to get the move done though? There is your leader continuing to press on down, and actually potentially getting some back markers then is Jules Nash. He's looking to hunt them down now, but Rafe Birdie and Oliver Reynolds in behind. There's potential for a switch round for second place. We'll wait and see as to whether they are able to get that done. But here is Jules Nash continuing on round then. He won't see the last lap board this time around. Still 30 seconds on the clock as he heads on then to lap number 10 of this race. New personal best once again for Jules Nash, and yes, Oliver Reynolds did make the move then out of the Stratford hairpin, and Reynolds is through into second place. Rafe looks to try and fight back there, but a little bit of a slidey moment through Cafe sees him lose the momentum, and that again gives the opportunity for Reynolds to scamper off here. Does he have enough time to catch up to Jules Nash though? This is going to be a challenge as Nash picks his way through a couple of the back markers. I think that gap is just a little bit too big here for Reynolds to chase down. He's done a valiant effort through the rest of this final. He beat in his own time on the lap before last, a 101.8, and even when making overtakes, he pops in a 102 dead as well, matching and actually beating still the pace of your race leader. What a race this has been from Oliver Reynolds. Sadly for him, I just don't think it's quite going to be enough to catch your current race leader. Of course, Oliver started third place in this final, dropped back initially on the race start, but then slowly but surely picked his way through the order. Up to second place he's gone, but there comes Jules Nash then. Across the line he goes to start the final lap of proceedings as drivers going 3 wide there down into the first corner. As one, they're trying to make up positions, but two, they're also picking their way through a couple of back markers. Well, this throws the cat amongst the pigeons as Reynolds, Birdie and Castleman also looking to get involved as well here in the squabble for second place. There is your race leader continuing on down. He's exiting the Stratford hairpin now, and here come the rest of the drivers. Still Reynolds there in second place, Birdie in third, and Castleman Castleman in fourth, but Castleman all over the back of Verdi, and they now go side by side as they exit the Stratford hairpin. The battle for second continuing on then as they head down through into the chicane, as there is Jules Nash now. Only a few more meters to go here before he can get his hands on the trophy for taking the victory in the final. Brilliant final it's been for Jules Nash. Started second on the grid for this one. Only had to get past Wraith Verdi, and he did that at the first corner. Round the final corner comes Jules Nash, and he will win in the mighty Bambino final. Jules Nash sees the checkered flag first and gets maximum points to his name there from the final. What's it going to settle itself out? They were almost 3 wide across the line, and Wraith Verdi takes it there on the final lap. Great battling between those 3 young drivers, but Wraith Verdi, or Racing Wraith as he's known, gets it done on the final lap. Well done to Wraith Verdi. Second place goes his way. Oliver Reynolds having to settle for third. Well, there you see then, Reynolds picking up the pace amazingly through that final, but at the final moments, the other drivers seemingly able to match him. Wraith Verdi gets through into P2, and Aidan Castleman sadly just off of the podium in that one, but he does grab the fastest lap on the penultimate lap, a 101.785 for Oliver Reynolds. What a brilliant final that was in Mighties. Jules Nash breaking away very nicely there at the sharp of the order, but a brilliant squabble we were treated to there right up to the dying moments between Verdi, Reynolds and Castleman. Behind them, Arthur Etherington rounded out the top 5, and then behind them as well we look down to the rest of the top 10 as the final few drivers come across the line to end that mighty Bambino final. Here is the final finishing results then of that one. Of course, provisional results as well, don't forget. Make sure you head over to results.alphatiming.co.uk/UKKS to double check the finalised results. But provisionally then anyway, Arthur Etherington rounds out the top 5 with Teddy Veslowski just behind, then Oscar Osborne, Max West, Ayrton Ayula and Emerson Elliott rounding out the top 10. They were followed by Cruz Rogers, Archie Watkins, Harriet Jones, Oliver Mullen, Ayrton Tennant and Joshua Chung. Sadly, Joshua Chung, our only non-finisher in that one, courtesy of that mechanical flag with about 5 minutes to go in that race. Well, there we go. Mike's e-bambino final brought to a close. It's Honda Cadets next. Well then, the action's coming thick and fast here from Shenington for round 2 of the UK Kart Series. We're straight into another final, and this time it's our Honda Cadets. Archie Loveridge, another driver who's had a stellar performance so far today, having 102 points to his name already, and also that UK plate on his kart courtesy of his performance from fullback. Ollie Knox will join him on the front row, with Dino Rowlands and Bradley Sutton on row number 2. Alistair Saunders and Oscar Somerset are on row 3, followed by Archie Rutter and Phoebe Shelton on row 4. Nico Veslowski, older brother of the driver we just saw in the last final, lines up there on row 5, with Louis Dawson joining him on row 5. Oscar Wills, Austin Dowell, then Oliver Godfrey, David Kioka, Nathan Gretsch, Callum Bradford, Zachary Dormer, Connor Sturdy, Leo Bellendron and Boddy Shilcott rounds out the grid. We're off, we're underway then in Honda Cadets, and already we're squabbling down into the first couple of corners. Honda's always produced great racing action here at Shenington. Let's hope for more of that here over the next 10 minutes or so. They fly down through Cafe Curve, a bit of argy-bargy, and some drivers getting properly wide there out of Cafe, kicking up all sorts of spray, but they managed to wrangle the kart back onto the racing line, and we fly on down to Stratford Hairpin for the first time. Hopefully no drivers getting spun around, and no, looks as though they all keep it clean, which is great to see. But there is Archie Loveridge then leading the way in his UK plated kart, and already looking to scamper off from the rest of the field. What a start from Loveridge. He leads Knox, Rowland, Sutton and Somerset, your top 5, as we are absolutely nose to tail for 4th place then, thinking about the move down into the Wilkins complex as drivers go side by side, looking to battle for it. We head to the end of lap number 1 then, we'll have a look at who's made moves on that first lap of proceedings. So it's Loveridge from Knox, Rowland, Sutton and Somerset indeed still your top 5. Rutter's made a move on Saunders, Veslowski and Dowell making places up as well, but your biggest mover, David Kioka on the first lap. Great first lap from David on kart number 83. He moves up 3 positions into 11th place for now. Knocking on the door of the top 10 already is David. Drivers heading on out then of the Stratford hairpin for the second time in this race. But as we say, Archie Loveridge already putting a sizable bit of fresh air between himself and the rest of the field. Can anyone start to match Loveridge's pace in this race? Or will we see a simple lights to flag victory for the youngster? Big move down the inside. That's a late braking opportunity there from Bradley Sutton. He gets it stopped, but that's going to lose him all momentum out the corner. And he might just get freight train here down into T1. He's on the outside line with a few drivers trying to dart on through. Then Oscar Somerset getting involved as back to the inside line there. We're almost 3 wide on corner exit. Awesome racing here in the Honda Cadets with the P1 driver looking to hang it round the outside. The 144 there, Somerset should have the inside line into the right-hander. He will, but another driver sends it up the inside, threads the needle there down at the Stratford hairpin, and somehow they've all sorted themselves out. My goodness, I forgot how great Honda Cadets were at this circuit. I almost need a second to take a breath here. Right, who's ahead then? It's Ollie Knox in second place. The 144 of Oscar Somerset is into third place, so Dino Rowlands relegated down into fourth. Then it's the 53 of Bradley Sutton, who now himself is thinking of a move, and contact there through the Wilkins complex. They've done very well to get away with that one. That was very close. I think that was Alistair Saunders almost up and over the back of another driver, and yeah, loses a bit of time on that one and one position. Veslovsky gaining another 2 places on that lap. He's had a lovely start to this race as Nico, and he's still very much in the middle of this big battle pack. Now 2 seconds separating Loveridge and Knox at the sharp end of the order. But Ollie Knox very much being kept in check by the drivers behind. More moves made there down at the Stratford hairpin. As you can see, the drivers tapping the helmet, wanting to work together. I think especially with these two at the sharp end of the order, Loveridge is just scampering away here with this one. They need to work together if they want any opportunity at the race lead, but even then, with only 3 minutes gone in this race, it might be too little too late already here, with Loveridge pushing on so far clear. It was fastest lap of the race for Loveridge 2 laps ago, and he nearly matched it on the last lap. What does he do this time around? Again, he pretty much matches it. He's been within a few hundredths of a second of his personal best lap and the fastest lap of the race so far in the last 3 laps of proceedings. And consistency is key in motorsport. Consistency is what wins you races at a high level such as this here at the UK Kart Series. And look at that, almost we're not getting Loveridge in the same camera shot as the rest of the drivers battling over second place. Now, what domination so far in this final from Archie. Will we continue to keep our eyes on these drivers squabbling, just about getting the overlap there to the inside, but that'll become the outside then for the 53 of Bradley Sutton. I think he's lost the place there, hasn't he? Battling with, I couldn't quite see what driver that was. Looked as though the number ended with a 1, but surely that can't be Dino Rowlands. He's further up the road. It's the 20, apologies at all, nearly getting in the side of him there is Bradley Sutton. So Archie Rutter had made the place on Bradley Sutton there to 6th place. Bradley was trying to take that back there down at Wilkins Complex, but it hasn't quite worked out. He's lost the momentum and now might lose some more positions. As looking to get involved now is Alistair Saunders on the 58, Louis Dawson going with him as well, and Oscar Wills rounding out the top 10, not too far behind them also. Well, here we look back to our battle for second place then, as there goes Nico Veslovsky, having a little sniff at the inside line there. Has he got the place? No, he's had to back out of it, and that's lost him a bit of momentum out of the corner. So Ollie Knox continuing to hold on to second place then. Oscar Somerset piling on the pressure there through the chicane. But a check over the shoulder from both Somerset and Veslovsky just to see whereabouts their rivals are. Bit of a wobble on the inside curb there from through Hanger from Ollie Knox. Needs to be careful of that one. You don't want to lose the back end through that corner. It's a very committed, flat-out corner, especially in these karts. Any sort of slidey action is one going to lose you a lot of time and potentially spit you out right to the exit. And there's no runoff down there at Hanger. You're straight into a tyre wall. So got to be nice and careful as Ollie. But for the moment, he is dealing with this pressure very, very well there in second place. These drivers pretty much matching the pace now of your race leader, as once again Veslovsky goes for the move up the inside there at Stratford. Has it worked this time? Yes, it has, because he's managed to shuffle Somerset onto the exit curb. They'll continue side by side. A lot of rubbing there down into the chicane, but back through goes Oscar Somerset. Aggressive racing from these two, and they settle themselves out. And look, Somerset turns his attention to Veslovsky behind. This is the opportunity for Ollie Knox to look to scamper off here in second place. Through they continue on then, looking to get the up and under is Veslovsky. He will get a nice exit out of the corner, but will it produce a move for him? Sadly not. But through they go then down to Cafe, and he's made it work. Good exit there from Nico Veselowski, and Veselowski moves his way then into the podium places. More battles going on down there at the bottom end of the top 10. That'll be the likes of Bradley Sutton, Louis Dawson, Oscar Wills, Phoebe Shelton, Oliver Godfrey there, all squabbling at the bottom end of the top 10. But here we go then, still 3.5 minutes left in this one. Oh, spin there for the 44. What a shame for Oliver Godfrey. Just got chopped across the nose there. I think it was Phoebe Shelton there that chopped across to try and make the move up the inside. Didn't realise that Oliver Godfrey already had the overlap. Just hit the front nose cone of the car, sent him into a spin, and there was no catching that. What a shame for Oliver. He'll rejoin, I think, in the same position, but he'll drop back into the following pack there. Not too long then left to go in this one. Drivers lapping around the 52, so I'd say probably 5 more laps of this race then potentially still to come. As here's a move thinking about up the inside. Dino Rowlands under pressure from Archie Rutter is that, and Rutter makes it through. Indeed, Archie Rutter then up into the top 5 he goes, and Alistair Saunders trying to go with them as well. Those 3 still staying absolutely nose to tail. Veselowski looking for second place, though he loves this move down at Stratford Hairpin, and he's got it done again. Up to second place goes Nico Veselowski. This has been an awesome race from the young driver. Up to P2 he goes, but like we say, that gap to Archie Loveridge, still at 2.5 seconds. He's still remaining consistent in his lap times in the low to mid 52s. And look at that last lap from Veselowski. Despite making an overtake, he popped in a 51.6, did Nico Veselowski. So 2.5 seconds. He's got about 2.5 minutes to make up that time. It's going to be a challenge, but it's not out of the question. I think the key part of this equation is whether Knox and Somerset try to get in that battle again, as that door was going to close there for Dino Rowlands as he looks to pop it up the inside there of Oscar Somerset once more. Of course, no, Somerset's in the group ahead. It was Rowlands and Rutter going side by side. Rowlands is back through, and now through goes Alistair Saunders as well. So another change there for 5th and 6th place. Rutter dropping back down into P7. Timer continuing to tick down then. Look, Veselowski's made the break. He has made the breakaway now. He doesn't need to feel under pressure here from Knox and Somerset. Of course, those 2 drivers will still get the benefit of the slipstream down the back straight and through Hanger. It won't be enough to catch back up to Veselowski. But like I mentioned earlier, is it too little too late here for Veselowski? I say that, we can see how much that gap has closed, and look at that, it's 1.2 seconds. 9/10 of a second gained on that last lap alone for Nico Veselowski. And not only that, he is dragging Knox and Somerset along for the party here. Ladies and gentlemen, this race is not over. What can Nico Veselowski do here from second place? Awesome pace from Veselowski. How quickly can he chase down Loveridge? Well, you saw the check over the shoulder there from Archie. He must be thinking, oh heck, I thought this race was all over and done with, but now I've got a charging green helmeted driver coming up to my rear bumper. Well, off we go then. Top 4 all back in one camera shot yet again with just over 30 seconds left to go. We will extend this one here. We will get 2 more laps of this race. What's the gap going to be here as we head onto the penultimate lap of the race? It's only a few tenths of a second. Across the line they go, and it's 3.5 tenths now between Loveridge and Veselowski. This could be the lap where Veselowski can make a move. We know how much he loves making it. Down at the Stratford hairpin, he's got a brilliant exit, and Loveridge is going to have to defend. Pulls to the inside line, out through the left-hander of pit bend. He won't give Veselowski the opportunity to get the switch back up the inside, and he'll hold the inside line, and he'll hold the corner for now. Veselowski tries to get the up and under. Not quite the exit speed to pull alongside as the timer hits 0. This is it, folks. 1.5 laps to go as the 2 following drivers of Knox and Somerset try to get involved as well. Attempting the outside line is Veselowski. I was going to say that's not going to work, but it seems like it might have done. They'll run side by side, and here comes Ollie Knox as well. Knox is back through into second place. Brilliant battling here in Honda Cadets. This is a grandstand finish here at Shenington as contact there. Nearly chucks Veselowski off the circuit, and Veselowski will drop to 4th place then as we head onto the final lap. Loveridge leads us from Somerset, Knox and Veselowski. Well, Veselowski led the charge here to chase down Loveridge, and Loveridge has defended beautifully, but more contact between your 2 leaders, looking to get the inside line. Has Somerset got it? He has! More contact between our 2 leaders, and Somerset's through. Brilliant overtake there from Oscar Somerset, and Ollie Knox will get through as well. We've had 3 lead changes on only 2 laps here, and now, for the first time in this race, Somerset leads, but up the inside goes Ollie Knox. Big move there into the chicane from Ollie Knox, and these 2 will run side by side down the back straight. Fantastic racing here, as again aggressive from Loveridge. He tries to take the inside line down through Hanger. Will it be the inside line for Knox? Not quite enough. He leans on the rear bumper of Oscar Somerset, but I think Somerset's done enough. Through the final corner they go. The final goes to Oscar Somerset. Brilliant race in Honda Cadet, and our top four were separated by less than 7/10 of a second. Unbelievable final there in the Honda Cadet. What a final couple of laps there, but it's Oscar Somerset who takes the win, and finally, I can take a breath here in the commentary box. My goodness. Oh, I said at the start of the race I remembered how good Honda Cadets were around here at Shenington, but wow, that was something else. Somerset wins from Ollie Knox, second place. Archie Loveridge in third. Well, Archie Loveridge led, I'd say, 85 to 90% of that race, but sadly not when it mattered most. He drops to third place on the podium. Veselowski looked to be the one leading the charge to steal away the victory in the final laps there. He ends up in fourth place. Who would have predicted there, with 30 seconds left to go, that Oscar Somerset would be your race winner? I certainly wouldn't have. Wow, what a final there in Honda Cadets. Alistair Saunders rounds out the top five then, with Phoebe Shelton, Archie Rutter, Dino Rowlands, Louis Dawson and Bradley Sutton rounding out the top 10. They were followed by Oscar Wills, Oliver Godfrey, then Austin Dowell, David Kioka, Connor Sturdy, Callum Bradford, Nathan Gretsch, Leo Belendran, Zachary Dormer and Bolly Shilcock then finalising the order. Also good to see that all of our drivers who started that Honda Cadet final did make it through to the checkered flag. But wow, what a final there in Honda Cadet. An absolutely grandstand finish, and the two leaders separated by 3/4 of a tenth of a second. It doesn't get much closer than that. We've still got plenty more races still to come this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Honda Cadet's done and dusted. We'll move on to the final next for our British Junior Pro Kart Championship. Right then, British Junior Pro Kart Championship is about to get underway. Yeah, no waiting around here. My voice not too happy about that, but I'm sure all of you watching at home very happy about that. We want more racing just like that. Right then, let's run you through the grid then for our Junior Pro Kart drivers. Sebastian Thompson will line up on pole position for this one, with Ashton Horspool alongside him on the front row. Lorenzo Martin and Rowan Marshall are on row 2, with Harry Pennington and Peter Webster on row 3. Row 4 has Thomas Stevens and Lewis Dean. Then it is Isaac Hobbs and Archie Young on row number 5. They round out the top 10. They're followed by Tyler Goodsir and Joseph East on row number 6. Then Jensen Smith and Finley Iron on row number 7. Mia Duffel and Matthew Plant are on row 8. Surprising there for Matthew Plant, your UK plate driver from round number 1. Of course, Victor in the final at round 1. Starting down there on row 8. It's gone wrong clearly at some point today for Matthew, and he's got a lot of work to do then in the final. Jamie Robotham and Nicole Allardyce are on row number 9. They're followed by Finley Worthy and Emma Falconer, who round out the top 20. Then Callan Falconer and Oliver Dormer round out the 22 drivers on the grid here for your second final of the year in the British Junior Pro Kart Championship. Well, we said Honda Cadets always makes for good racing around here at Shenington because of the Honda engine. They don't have the best acceleration, and that means that the slipstream really comes into effect, and that also means that carrying the speed is absolutely crucial in getting a good result. And you've got to remember, here in the British Pro Karts, we've got the exact same. We've got 2 Honda Cadet engines on the back of the kart. So this should also produce some pretty great racing. Flag falls, and we're racing here in the juniors of the British Pro Kart Championship. We fly down through the first couple of corners then, and Sebastian Thompson leads us through. It should be Horspool, Martin, Marshall and Pennington going with him. And we're already side by side for second place there out of Cafe Curve. Getting shuffled out wide there, I think was the 78 potentially of Rowan Marshall there, getting ever so slightly shuffled out wide, as they all then chuck on the anchors down into Stratford Corner for the first time in this race. Yet again, 10 minutes plus 1 lap on the clock for this one, as drivers squabble for position on this first lap. Always a bold one to go for there into the chicane. A very tight section of the circuit. Not easy to go 2 by 2, and you've really got to trust the driver that you're battling with, that they're not going to do something silly, because the slightest bit of contact will be quite a sizable incident. There's a nice move up the inside. That is our UK plated driver, so already Matthew Plant making moves, and that was a double overtake there down at Wilkins Complex from Matthew. What a move from Matthew Plant, and he's already up 6 positions on the first lap. I mean, we were kind of expecting it, given he has the UK plate from round number 1, but still, I won't take anything away from him. 6 positions gained on that one. What a storming start from Matthew Plant. But already, Thompson and Pennington looking to scamper off in this one then. Horspool's actually lost a place. He was second place on the grid in this one. Despite it saying up 2 on the left-hand side of your screen, he is actually down 1 in this one so far. And it's Pennington who's gained quite a few. Pennington is up 3 positions in this one so far, and very much going with Sebastian Thompson. I say going with, battling with there down into the Wilkins complex, leaning on the rear bumper of Sebastian Thompson as they press on through to start lap number 3 of this race then. And they've very much broken away. What's the gap now already? 1.7 seconds between Thompson and Horspool. Horspool with a number of drivers right in his wheel tracks. So a good 6 or 7 drivers there in the wheel tracks of Ashton Horspool. 50.8 for himself. All the rest of the following drivers, apart from Matthew Plant, are all in the 51s. 50.3 though for Harry Pennington, and a 50.5 for Sebastian Thompson. So currently still Pennington, your fastest driver out there on circuit at the moment in terms of their first full lap of proceedings. But it does look as though that gap's opened up ever so slightly. They were nose to tail, bumper to bumper through this section of the circuit on the previous lap, but now at least a kart length or so opening up there down the back straight. Pennington using the slipstream to his advantage. Hasn't quite helped enough though across that lap just yet for him to launch an attack, and there you see why. New fastest lap of the race goes the way of Sebastian Thompson now. So a 50.3 now the pace to beat. Ashton Horspool pretty much matching that on the last lap, so Pennington actually slightly slower than the 2 drivers around him on that previous lap. And now all of the top 10 have joined those leaders in the mid-50s second lap times. So now maybe we might see them start to close up a little bit more once again. Oh, we lost something from a kart there. Something flew off there to the right-hand side of your screen. I didn't quite see what that was, but one driver certainly lost something there from their car. Hopefully nothing too necessary for their car to move forward in a straight line. For the moment, they all look intact and they all continue to press on. As here come more drivers down into the final corner. That being, I believe, the 23. It is indeed a Thomas Stevens there in 7th place. So he's got Matthew Plant for company along with the H plate of Peter Webster. And those 3 just looking to chase down the rest of those drivers at the sharp end. Has the gap closed at all? No, it's staying pretty similar between these top 2 and then the chasing drivers. Really, we need to see them start battling, and that's exactly what they're starting to do there down at the Stratford Bend. Defensive manoeuvre made there for Sebastian Thompson, as it was a new fastest lap of the race once more from Harry Pennington. So he just dropped out of the flow of things a little bit on the previous lap, but he's straight back onto pace here on lap number 4. Let's see what he can do as we head through lap 5 now. Pennington hounding the rear bumper here of Sebastian Thompson, but for the moment still not able to find a way through. Well, Horspool has broken away from the chasing pack in behind, and Rowan Marshall and Lorenzo Martin going side by side. Martin has the inside line, and I think he's just about chopped back across there and held on to the place. Lovely battling for 4th position there between Marshall and Martin. Lewis Dean as well involved there also. The 69 indeed of Lorenzo Martin did chop back across. Retook 4th place there as confirmed on your camera shots. As those 3 battle once more, is that Matthew Plant finally getting his way through? It is indeed. So Plant through into 7th place then, relegates Thomas Stevens now into 8th and back into the clutches of Peter Webster. You saw Matthew pointing forward after making that overtake. He knows that he feels he should be a little bit higher up the order than he is at the moment. Let's work together, drivers. We can catch this next train of 3 if we start putting pedal to the metal. Let's see if they can do it. We hit half race distance here in the British Junior Pro Kart Championship final here at round number 2 of the UK Kart Series at Shenington. And there, indeed, confirmed on the timing that re-switch around from Lorenzo Martin and Rowan Marshall. Again, defending there down into Stratford from Sebastian Thompson. He very much knows that Harry Pennington's still with him, but to be fair, even with that little bit of defending, Horspool is not closing up particularly quickly. I said particularly quickly. Both Thompson and Pennington were still faster than him and the rest of the field on the last lap. They're the first drivers to drop down into the 49s in this race. A 49.945 for Pennington, a 49.955 for Thompson. So 100th in it between their 2 lap times on the previous lap, and I think that shows just why, although Harry is able to pressure Sebastian throughout this lap, he's not quite able to get the overspeed enough to get the move done. Well, there's a good response from Ashton Horspool. He now gets the fastest lap of the race on a 49.8. 8.70 for Horspool, and that gap closes back up to 1.5 seconds. But again, only 3.5 minutes now left in this race. Is it too little too late for Horspool? I mean, the 3rd place is still not too shabby. I think you'll still be pretty happy with that performance, but those top 2 are tantalisingly close for him. Check over the shoulder there for Harry Pennington. He lost that bit of time there down through the chicane and just thought, hold on, where is my closest rival here? Okay, we've still got a few kart lengths here. I think Pennington will start to know that he needs to get this move done sooner rather than later as Horspool continues to close in. Gap stays at around half a second there as all 3 drivers are down in the high 49s. Thompson leads us through then. We are now on to lap number 9 of this race. Wanted to check, of course, it was Matthew Plant who took the win back at round number 1, hence why he has that UK plate on his car. That bit's all closed up, hasn't it, in that squabble there as they headed down through the Stratford hairpin. But amazing to see battles galore up and down the order. It doesn't matter where you are in terms of the overall order in this race, in terms of your outright pace. You've always got someone to battle with here in the British Pro Kart Championship, whether that be in the juniors or the seniors, which is so good to see. And that's the only way you're going to improve as a racing driver as well, is getting stuck into those battles, learning that racecraft and being able to consistently put down pace without even having to think about it. That's the crucial part of being a racing driver. You need to be metronomic on that pace, and that's when you can free up your mind to start thinking about racing manoeuvres. Well, Sebastian Thompson still very much thinking about racing manoeuvres, particularly those defensive ones, as he tries to keep Harry Pennington behind. That gap to Horspool staying, as I say, very similar. So Matthew Plant leads the championship on 167 points going into today. Ashton Horspool second in the standings on 164. So if it stays like this, given the lack of points that Matthew Plant has got from earlier today as well, I think Ashton Horspool will just about steal the lead in the championship in this one. Just to put this into perspective as well, Sebastian Thompson finished the final at Fullbeck in 19th place. Okay, he had issues in the final because earlier on in the day he got a 5th, a 3rd and a 2nd, but this will be Sebastian Thompson's first victory of the season here in the final, if he can hold on, and that is a big if, because Harry Pennington, as we say, has been piling on the pressure throughout this final so far, but just not able to find a way past his rival on circuit. Well, just over 1 minute left to go in this final now. Still a few reshufflings of the order further down. Jensen Smith gets a move done on Mia Duffel on the previous lap. He sneaks his way back into 14th place. As we say, Matthew Plant, he made that move into 7th place a little while ago now, but now he has no slipstream, no drivers ahead of him to assist in pressing towards the leaders. And that's always going to make it a little bit more challenging, particularly around such a sensitive circuit like this. Shenington, really, the assistance of the tow is massively needed. And we can always see, well, I'm not taking anything away from Pennington. I'm sure he is on leader's pace, but even if he was a few tenths off of Sebastian Thompson's pace, that slipstream will just allow him to close back up on every straight and just keep himself knocking on the door of the race lead. Well, 25 seconds now on the clock. I think this will be close. We might just see the last lap board this time around, and it will be close, like I say, though. Very slidey there through the chicane for Sebastian Thompson, and look at him leading down there, activating human DRS as he presses down the back straight. Of course, DRS no longer in Formula 1, but human DRS still very much a thing here in karting, as you're looking to get as aerodynamically efficient as possible. Timer will tick to 0 just as they go across the line, so this will be on to the final lap, and one less lap then to defend for Sebastian Thompson. Through Cafe Curve they go for the final time, and Sebastian's done a lovely job of this race so far in keeping Pennington behind, and he's only got 1,000 metres to continue to do just that through this one, and he will thus be able to lead a perfect lights to flag victory if he can do just that. Well, after breaking away, Horspool's just been able to get that consistent pace down. He still has the fastest lap of the race. He's still matching the lead, the pace of the leaders, but but it's not quite enough to reel them back in after they made that early breakaway. Our top two continue line astern. This is really the last possible opportunity here for Pennington to make a move. He gets the kart stopped, but he can't get alongside. Out of the final corner comes Sebastian Thompson, and he will win in the British Junior Pro Kart Championship here at Shenington. The final goes to number 4 of Sebastian Thompson. Harry Pennington finishes second, with Ashton Horsball in third, and a reshuffle for 7th there on the final lap. Matthew Plant loses out and loses more points. Whoa! Over the inside curb there. That could have been catastrophic there. I think that was Tyler Goodsir there who took to the inside curb. He was lucky he only had a glancing blow with that inside curb because they're not exactly small. Up on 2 wheels he went. Thankfully, he landed back down on all 4 and got to the line. Well, here we go then. There's your provisional results for the British Junior Pro Kart Championship final here at round 2 of the UK Kart Series at Shenington. Sebastian Thompson takes maximum points, followed by Harry Pennington and Ashton Horsball with that fastest lap as well. They were followed by Lorenzo Martin and Lewis Dean in the top 5. Rowan Marshall and Thomas Stevens behind. Matthew Plant, as we say, a round to forget for Matthew here at Shenington. Might have to be one of his drops for the year, methinks. Peter Webster and Joseph East then round out the top 10. Followed by Tyler Goodsir, then Isaac Hobbs, Archie Young, Mia Duffel, Finley Worthy, Jensen Smith, Finley Iron, Nicole Allardyce, Oliver Dormer, Jamie Robotham, Emma Falconer and Callan Falconer rounded out the order. But yet again, another race where we had all of our drivers who started the race make it to the checkered flag, which is always what we want to see. Well, the juniors of our Pro Karts are done and dusted, but don't forget we've got 2 finals here for our seniors of the British Pro Kart Championship. It will be the A final to finish off the day, but up next, it's our B final for the British Pro Kart Championship. Right then, looks as though we've just about dodged any further rainfall so far at the moment, as now our senior drivers head out of pit lane for the B final. Now, this isn't going to be like a regular B final. The drivers can't move forward from the B to the A, so this is all just battling for championship points here in the B final. The drivers had opportunities earlier, so they were split into 2 groups from the qualifying lap times from yesterday's action. And then in the heats earlier on, they each had 3 heats, and any drivers in the B heats, any driver that won a heat in the Group B was able to get through into the A group, and they then stayed in there through the rest of the day, and we'll continue to see those drivers who've moved up from the B group to the A group later on today in the A final. Let's quickly run you through the grid then before they head round to the race start. Tom Hewlin and Finley Marshall are on the front row, followed by Peter Sharp and Steve Nichols. Jay Shepherd and Bo Harbour on row 3, followed by Archie Cotton and Gary Evans. Andrea Bahario Mastita and Alfie King round out the top 10 on row 5. They're followed by Eddie Croydon Fowler and Kenny McAllister, then Tristan Deacon, Rodney Taylor, Sean Deacon, Jonathan Liddell, then Simon Sharp, Daruv Rout and Alex Maher. Well, here we go then. 19 drivers taking to the start here in only the B final. Amazing to see this turnout once again here in the British Junior Pro Kart Championship. Well, the flag drops and we get underway for 10 minutes of racing once again here at Shenington. Hewland will lead us down through the first couple of corners, and it seems as though it's been a good start for him as he looks to break away on the number 8 kart. Drivers following close in behind there. There is the number 85. That was a Gary Shepherd. I think Shepherd's made quite a good start then. Up to 4th place he's gone already, has Gary. So a good couple of positions made there, only through Park Bend, Cafe and Pits for Gary, and already pressing on forward. There is the number 14 of Bo Harbour now leading the next train. He's got the 45, I think it is. No, it must be the 85 of Jay Shepherd, who he's got in his wheel tracks. Continuing to squabble just outside of the top 5 here as we almost bring this first lap to a close already. The laps do go by pretty quickly here at Shenington. But oh my goodness, does it treat us to some fantastic racing. Does this very, very fast 1 kilometre circuit. Of course, it does also have the extension for the KZ2s, but we don't have those out here racing today, only using this slightly shorter layout. But all the same layout anyway. The KZ2s only get a longer straight, and then they have a hairpin just the same. So no real difference that the drivers are missing out on. And there we see on this first initial hairpin there at Stratford. You can see there at the back of the shot that corner I mentioned there, with the slightly extended layout added a few years after this track was initially opened. Well then, top two very much breaking away there, and you can see now Peter Sharp feeding under a bit of pressure there in third place. Jay Shepherd had a great first lap of the race in getting a few positions up the order. Well, now he's looking to make some more moves, but this time he goes wide. Down at Wilkins Complex, he's gone wide. That'll lose him a bit of momentum, and he's going to hold up the drivers behind as well. Looking to the inside there is the number 14 of Bo Harbour. Inside will turn to the outside, but it doesn't matter. He chops straight back across the nose. Brilliant move from Bo Harbour, and he gets into the top five then. Past Gary Evans he goes, checks over the shoulder to the exit, knows there can't be a rear overtake here from Gary Evans, and is able to open up the line. Gary's thinking about it though. Again, no, Gary was way too far back there. Gets it stopped, and that means he's going to ruin all of his momentum there out of the corner. I think luckily he was able to do the block pass. It keeps Archie Cotton and Andrea Bahario Mastita behind for now. Well, already almost a quarter of the race distance complete here in our Senior British Pro Kart Championship B final, this one. But Tom Hewland took him 2 laps to extend the lead by just over a second. What's it going to be now yet again as they head to the end of lap number 3? Whoa, it's a new fastest lap from Finley Marshall. Hey, I thought Tom Hewland might just be driving away with this one, but looks as though the momentum has shifted back the way then of Finley Marshall. Well, Marshall now looking to launch an attack here on Tom Hewland. They'll need to find a few more tenths though to chase him back down, and then to try and set up a move. Of course, as we always say in motorsport, it's one thing catching a driver, it's a whole nother thing trying to actually find a way past, particularly when pace is so similar. However, out of the drivers in the top 5, the slowest one of those 5 is Tom Hewland in the lead of the race. So that's very positive for the neutrals anyway, watching on the sidelines or watching at home here, courtesy of the live stream on Stratton Events YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to not miss any of the future rounds of the UK Kart Series throughout 2026. But thank you for joining us here at round number 2. Has he closed in again? Yes, he has. Another fastest lap of the race for Finley Marshall. He's now down into the 49.9s. First driver to get down into the 49s. And that gap closes to 3/4 of a second. Well, despite the pace from Finley Marshall, a couple of tenths gained on the previous lap, he's not got a whole lot of time left to get this done. And we'll see. You never know. Tom Hewland might just be keeping a little bit in the locker here. And if Hewland is able to turn up the wick here across the last few minutes of the race, he might just be able to get that British Pro Karts as wide as possible and look to defend on Marshall. Well, that gap has closed visibly. Yes, yet again, another fastest lap of the race from Finley Marshall. That gap now 4/10 of a second. He gained almost 4/10 on that last lap alone. So let's expect to see Finley launching an attack here near the end of lap number 6. Number 7 goes slightly wide there. That's Gary Evans losing another position, sadly, for Gary Archie Cotton, now the driver who finds a way through. Courtesy that slightly slidey moment there for the number 7 through Pitts Bend. And Cotton through into the top 6 once more though. Nose to tail ahead as well. Jay Shepherd now being hounded by Bo Harbour. Bo Harbour's had a good race so far in this one, hasn't he, on the number 14? And you can see these two nose to tail setting up the move there up the inside, but door shut firmly in his face by the 85 of Jay Shepherd. But Jay outbrakes himself, goes a little bit wide, and now it's the turn of Bo to shut the door on Jay's face. Bo moves through up into 4th place then. Move gets done. Well, he was thinking about it on corner entry, had to back out of it, but the opportunity opened up again there on corner exit. He was able to grab that one with both hands. Into 4th place he goes then, and only now about a second to catch up to 3rd place. But there's the move for the lead up the inside there at Stratford Hairpin. It was a little bit too late there from Finley Marshall. Too much of a late dive there, and Tom Hewland's able to close off the corner at the apex. Absolutely scuppers the exit speed there of Finley Marshall, and Tom Hewland retakes the lead. Well, the first sniff that we've seen so far in this race at a change of lead, but Marshall not able to do it at the moment. Off we continue on. On to now, what will this be? Lap number 8 of proceedings then, so still Hewland leading the way, but it's surely only a matter of time until Marshall tries to set up another move. He attempted it last time through the Stratford Hairpin, and it's looking like he's set to try it again here. Has he got a good enough exit? Can he use the slipstream to make the move? Well, even if he could, Tom Hewland was smart to it. Hold that inside line as late as he could before moving back across to open up that corner and carry the speed out, down runway and through into the chicane once more. Hewland doing a lovely job at the moment. just weathering the storm, dealing with the pressure here, being mounted onto him by the 75 of Finley Marshall. And Marshall's super close here, down into the right hand of the final corner. Looks to thread the needle, almost contact there between the two leaders. Oh, that was heart in mouth moment stuff there for Tom Hewland. I'm sure family and friends watching on the sidelines. That was nearly a calamitous moment, almost a T-bone, but honestly, well done to Finley Marshall there. He was able to grab the brakes, kept himself in check and kept himself out of the side of the number 8. But now he's lost that bit of momentum, he's lost that bit of pace, and he's got a bit of work to do once again to close back up to the rear bumper of Hewland. How is the gap looking like to Peter Sharp? It closed up by almost 6/10 on the last lap to Peter. More battling like this between the top two, and we could see the 68 of Peter Sharp close in and join the squabble as well. Well, I'm in neutral at the sideline, and I'm very much hoping for that here in the commentary box. Let's see if it materialises it then. It is 5 seconds back from Hewland to 4th place of Beau Harbour, but he has now scampered off for the likes of Shepherd, Cotton and Evans. He's a second clear of those drivers battling for the last position in the top 5. Well, on to that number 10 we go now, and still Hewland ahead. Well, not for much longer. Up the inside goes Finley Marshall, but it'll go wide out through Cafe Curve, and a lovely up and under move there from Tom Hewland. Read that one beautifully, didn't stress about the initial move up the inside from Finley, and he was able to calmly and considerately move his way back through into the lead. Nicely done, nicely considered there from Tom Hewland. Really, really calm drive here from Tom. He's keeping himself in check. I think he knows that Finley has the outright pace over him ever so slightly, but he is defending beautifully for the moment, getting it nice and slidey there under brakes down into the Wilkins complex. Block passing through to the apex. He'll have to cut back across though here to stop the overlap. He hasn't done it though. He hasn't stopped the overlap, and in comes Finley Marshall. Up the inside then into Park Bend. Marshall's going to take the race lead. Can he hang it round the outside? He has. Lovely stuff there from Tom Hewland. He hangs it round the outside of the left-hander of Park Bend, which becomes the inside for Cafe, and he keeps the lead. Epic racing here in the British Pro Kart Championship, and don't forget folks, this is only the B final. Epic racing here at the sharp end of the B final. Well, Hewland continued to lead us on then. Somehow, despite the efforts of Finley Marshall over the last few laps, somehow he still hasn't found it to the lead of the race. And we're closing down now to 60 seconds left to go in this one. He's got a nice exit as Marshall there out of the chicane, down hanger straight, and through the right-hander hanger they go. Once more, Marshall sent to the outside line. He'll do the up and under. He'll V off the corner there to try and slingshot the exit. But I think Hewland will have second thoughts there about closing the door, and this time he does, thank goodness. But look at that, looking around the outside to try and get the inside. Too slidey though in the mid-corner there of Park Bend for Finley Marshall. He's lost that momentum and lost the opportunity at the move, and these opportunities are dwindling now. We're ticking down towards the final lap of the race here, ladies and gentlemen. And still, Tom Hewland in the lead. He will be very deserving of this B final win here if he's able to hold on to it over these last couple of laps or so. Question is, will it be this one and one more, or this one and two more? I think it will just about be on to the last lap next time around, but again, it's going to be close in terms of the timer. Down into Wilkins Complex they come then for the 12th time in this race. And indeed, it will be last lap board then this time around. Out the final corner they come then. Last lap board seen by your race leader of Tom Hewland. He's got 1,000 metres to continue defending here from Finley Marshall. Marshall goes for it up the inside once again. But will he run wide, just as he did previously? Yes, he does. Off onto the wet stuff he goes. He loses the momentum, and up and under goes Tom Hewland. It just seems that Hewland has an answer to every weapon in the arsenal here of Finley Marshall. Out of Stratford Hairpin they come once again then, and it's still Tom Hewland in the lead of this race. Oh, I thought there might be a cheeky dive to the inside there. That could have been a little cheeky block pass there from the 75, but has he got the exit? Has he got the overlap? Finley Marshall trying to chop across, but no. Tom Hewland closes the door, and this will have to be an up and under, V'ing off the corner again from Marshall to try and get the exit speed and pull alongside, but surely the number 8 will chop across. Of course he will. It's going to be Tom Hewland who wins in the B final. Brilliant defending throughout that race from Tom Hewland, and a deserving victory there in the B final. A very well done to the driver of the number 8. Well, look at that huge battle pack from 6th backwards. Coming across the line there, Cotton, Evans, Nichols, Crown and Foiler and Baharu Mastita all squabbling. Sorry we couldn't focus on that battle at any point in the race, but that squabble for the lead was far too sensational for us to take our eyes off. Brilliant stuff between Hewland and Marshall. But as I say, Tom just seemingly had the answers for everything that Finley threw at him during that race, and Tom Hewlin will take maximum points then there from the B final. Vinnie Marshall having to settle for second despite getting that fastest lap of 49.743, and Peter Sharp closed in to about 2 seconds by the race end. Not quite enough though to get involved in that scrap. Third place for Peter Sharp, he was followed by Bo Harbour, Jay Shepherd, Archie Cotton, Gary Evans, Steve Nichols, Eddie Croydon Fowler, Andrea Baharu Mestita rounded out the top 10. He was followed by Kenny McAllister, Simon Sharp, Tristan Deacon, Sean Deacon, Rodney Taylor and Jonathan Liddell then, your 16 drivers. Once again, all drivers who started the race making it to the finish in that one as well. Well, as we say, that was only the B final there in the British Pro Kart Championship. We will have the A final in a race time. But before that, we've still got another race to complete. And it's, of course, our Honda R200s. Their final is coming up next. We continue on thick and fast then here at Shenington onto the Honda R200 final. 9 drivers in total on the grid for this one. And we're very close on points from today, impressively so. Carter Lundy on pole position on 99 points. Jensen Charity alongside him on the front row on 98 points. Jake Barnett and JJ Aller on row 2 with 96 and 92 points respectively. Then Maddie Horsball and William Hossack on row 3, they're on 90 and 89 points respectively. Then Alfie Facer, Hallie Finlater and Jack Clark round out the grid of 9 drivers here in Honda R200. Well, Jensen Charity was mightily impressive at round number 1. We're not going to go this time, though. We go round again. False start here in the Honda R200s. And you see that green and yellow V-shaped flag there, both being waved at the start-finish straight and also on the flashing light panels on each of the marshal posts. That denotes the false start. And the drivers all head round again. So clearly, the race director's not happy with something on the race start there. Either the driver's not in the correct formation, not closed up enough, or they've accelerated too fast to the line. There's plenty of reasons as to why a false start can be called, but one of those reasons was spotted, and that is why we're going round again for another kilometre or so to look to get this race underway. Second time of asking then. As you can see there from the driver gesticulating to slow down, I think we can maybe assume that that's the reason why we didn't go for the race start then on that first time of asking. As I think our top 2 on the front row just a little bit too eager to get this race underway. Yes, so Jensen Charity was your victor in the final at round number 1 at Fullbeck, and he leads the championship going into today. They're still going too fast, drivers. You can see, look, they're almost at full race speed there coming out the final corner. We can't do that, guys. We cannot be at full race speed before we see that flag drop. Of course, don't forget. So the rules are, come out the final corner. It's the top 2 on the grid who dictate the pace, and it should be around half race pace heading out the final corner. They should run at half race pace all the way up the start-finish straight, up the tram lines, and as soon as the flag drops, that's when they can go to full throttle, and as soon as they then come out of the tram lines and across the timing line, that is when they can break the formation and start racing. So clearly, the drivers on the front row of the grid for this one, being Carter Lundy and Jensen Charity, a little bit too quickly out of that final corner. You can see there, the lovely marshals here at the UK Kart Series just making sure, come on guys, slow this one down. We want to get it underway. Third time of asking. Well, will it be third time lucky here then in the Honda R200s? Let's hope that it is. Carter Lundy on pole position. Jensen Charity joining him on that front row. And those are the top 2 in the championship. Almost inseparable throughout today. Almost inseparable in the championship. Will they be inseparable in this race though? We'll soon find out. 10 minutes on the clock, and immediately round the outside goes Jensen Charity. Into the lead of the race he goes, and through will follow JJ Allen as well. Great start from the anti-pole side of the grid, and both those two scampering on by. So it's Charity then from Allen, and then Carter Lundy following closely behind in third place, but he might just lose third place. Goes too deep on the brakes there through Stratford and goes wide. Has he been able to trot back across and get back into position? I think he has. Yes, he has. There is the 99 in third place then. So he manages to stop that negative momentum there on the first lap. He chops back across and holds third place and now can refocus his attention to the two drivers ahead. Well, already, this could be positive for the rest of the race. Jensen Charity's defending there down into the Wilkins complex. That gives the opportunity on the exit now to Carter Lundy. He gets the inside line of one. Can he get two? Not quite. And he continues to run side by side for second place. He'll have the inside line, back to the outside line then there at Cafe Bend. And he now slots in behind JJ Allen once more. Could this be the opportunity of a Charity though? I think that was maybe a little bit of tactics there from Jensen Charity at a Wilkins complex on the first lap. I'm not even quite sure he was defending only to hold on to the lead. Of course, he could have felt the push down the back straight, down hanger straight from the number 10 of JJ Allen. I think it was partially trying to keep the lead, but also partially trying to back JJ into Carter Lundy. He could see Carter closing back in. He thought, well, if these two start to squabble, I can get away here. But nope, it hasn't worked. He hasn't been able to get away, and now he defends once again through Wilkins complex. He holds the lead, but for how much longer? Chop back to the inside line is JJ Allen, and JJ Allen might just have the race lead here. Squeezes Charity out wide, and JJ Allen's through. Race lead then goes to the number 10. And for the first time in this race, we have a change at the sharp of the order. JJ Allen leads down from Jensen Charity and Carter Lundy. And look, with this battling and defending, more drivers joining the fray as well. We are not opening up a battle pack at all in this one. We're staying all together, which is just what we want to see in a final. Whoa, look at that rubbinous racing there between third and fourth. That was very close. That could have ended very badly there. You saw the smoke coming off the tyres there as they heavily rubbed together there down the runway straight. But thank goodness they're able to come out of it scot-free and they continue to press on. That is Jake Barnett getting all sorts of feisty there in fourth place. A little bit too slidey through the Wilkins complex. And he stays in fourth for now. Jensen Charity still there in second place then with Carter Lundy right on his tail. But it is Jake Barnett with the fastest lap of the race so far for 49.304. Lovely, lovely lap from him. Let's see if he can do anything with that overall race pace. Well, for the moment, now Charity's defending for second place. Well, this is the opportunity that JJ Allen needs, isn't it? He checks over the shoulder. He now drops down, activating that human DRS to try and maximise aerodynamic efficiency down the runway straight as he continues to try and break away here. Charity needs to stop defending. He needs to work together here with Lundy and Barnett if they want any chance at a race win in this race. Less than 7 minutes now left to go on the clock with 1 lap additional as well, don't forget. Jensen Charity's still defending in this one. I think for him, maybe there's a bit of thought of the championship in this one as well. Of course, he is battling with Carter Lundy in the championship. As long as he can keep Lundy behind, he's sure to hold that championship lead into round number 3 when we head to Hooton Park. But that might be, I mean, I was going to say it's kind of short-sighted, but he is thinking long-sighted. But actually, it is a little bit short-sighted because the likes of JJ Allen will still be in with a championship shout by the end of the season. You don't know how these points are going to affect things by the end of the championship season. And it might not be Carter Lundy that you're battling with, Jensen. So, bigger picture thoughts here. We might just want to work together for the next few minutes to try and reel back in JJ Allen. Well, that's the thought of Jake Barnett for the moment. Anyway, pushing Carter Lundy down the hanger straight. And Lundy is fired up here. Can he launch an attack here on the 55 of Jensen Charity? Charity goes a little bit wider off the final corner. Overlap, not quite for Carter Lundy. But like I say, he is looking feisty here. I think Charity knows it. I think Charity's going to be defending here once again, then down into the Wilkins complex. And it's now an over 1 second lead for JJ Allen. One courtesy of the defending from Jensen Charity, but also courtesy of his fastest lap. A 48.9 has just been set by JJ Allen, the first driver to drop down into the 48s. Very impressive pace then from JJ Allen. As soon as he's got through from Jensen Charity, he's had his eye on the prize as he's looked to scamper off into a different postcode, and for the moment he's doing exactly what he needs to do out there at the sharp end. Well, Charity's still defending. Is it enough though? He will chop back across just in time there down into Wilkins. And again, Lundy not able to do anything with this seemingly little bit of extra pace he has over Jensen Charity. And ditto to Jake Barnett behind as well. Not able to find a chink in the armour of the drivers ahead. And again, for the moment, having to settle for 4th place. Well, these three battling has now brought William Hassack back into play as well there in 5th on kart number 88. So Hassack now trying to get involved, and Maddie Horspool's not too far away from these drivers as well. I can only imagine the older sister of Ashton that we saw in the Hondas earlier on Maddie doing a valiant effort there in 6th place and has her eyes set on these 4 drivers ahead, all still squabbling over track position. All sorts of sideways there for the 55 of Jensen Charity there through the hangar corner. I think that was courtesy of a little bit of a push there from Carter-Lundy as Jensen started to put the steering angle on. A little bit of push just unsettled him a bit, but he held the slide very nicely and still stays there in 2nd place. This is a defensive masterclass at the moment here from Jensen Charity. And like we say, still holding on to P2 somehow. This is brilliant from Jensen. But again, this is only playing into the hands of JJ Allen. That gap now 1.8 seconds between Allen and Charity. And once again, Charity checking over the shoulder. Now Charity decides to point forward. You're sending mixed messages there, Jensen. You've been defending for the last 6 minutes in this race, and now you want to work together. Oh no, you're going to defend again. Well, okay, anyway. Jensen wants the drivers to think one thing and then do a totally other, which, honestly, Jensen, I respect it. Fair play. He wants to have his cake and eat it, and for the moment, he's doing just that. And it seems to be quite the yummy cake there in 2nd place. Well, on to lap number 9 we go now then in this one. And still, the 55 holding on there in 2nd place. And again, this battle just rumbling on here, rumbling on. No changes in amongst these 3 drivers, but Carter-Lundy doing everything he can to try and set something up. But it seems as though Charity just has all the answers at the moment to keep these 2 behind. Out of the Stratford hairpin we go once more. And again, Charity just about doing enough. Still, JJ Allen, the only driver down in the 48s. He's now done a 48.8, and he is consistently in the 48s as well. Last up of 48.9. Let's look at this. Round the outside this time, attempting his Carter-Lundy there at hangar. That would have been a bold move. Goes a bit too deep, though, down into the Wilkins complex. He'll hook it up, though. V's off the corner on the exit. But he's getting frustrated with Jensen Charity as Charity blocks there over the start-finish line. So Lundy getting frustrated, but to my eyes anyway, I've not seen Charity do anything that I would say is untoward or against the rules. He's simply being aggressive in his defence. I think more frustration from Carter in just a case of, Jensen, we could maybe have had a shot for the win here, but now we've battled for so long that JJ Allen is off. Well, Carter-Lundy's actually got a contact warning from his troubles from all of that, so clearly the student's feeling that actually that bit of contact was his doing and not Jensen's. But he's going to try it again here around the outside of hangar. Can he get far enough alongside this time? No, he cannot. And once more, he'll try and get the exit. But that's not going to help. Smashes straight into the rear bumper there of Jensen Charity and gives all the momentum that he had to the driver ahead. Well, 1.5 minutes still left to go on the clock there in this one, ladies and gentlemen. And we continue to rumble on. Well, finally, William Hossack is actually right into this battle now. He's always been a kart length or 2 off the back of these 3, but now he finds himself right with them as still Charity defends down into Stratford. They need this to kick off a little bit more here if the likes of Matty Horspool wants to join the fray as well. But as we say, I sound like I'm repeating myself because I am, that Charity just doing everything he needs to do here. It's been mightily impressive from Jensen here to hold on to 2nd place. And he's looking to just wrap up some good points in this round. Add to his already very impressive championship tally that he's racked up from round number 1 at Fullbeck. Well, less than a minute to go then as we head here onto lap number 12 of this race. Drivers doing 48-second lap time, so I think this will be the 3rd to last lap. This will be just about, with JJ Allen now leading by over 3 seconds with another fastest lap of the race from kart number 10, a 48.813 on the last lap from JJ Allen. He's only getting faster and faster. Well, he's closing up on the back marker of Jack Clark at the moment. Let's see. Let's hope that Jack doesn't get in his way too much here and is able to move out of the way and allow for JJ to scythe on by. As there was a driver stop there on the exit there of the chicane. Try and see who that was there who's pulled over to the side of the circuit. But a shame. Looks as though one of our drivers out here with only a few seconds on the clock. Well, JJ Allen's going to come under the gantry here with about 10 seconds left to go. So it will be the penultimate lap of the race this time for our Honda R200 drivers. Through Cafe goes your race leader. And there we just about get them in the same camera shot as Charity still leads Lundy, Barnett and Hossack. Carter-Lundy must be getting sick of looking at the back of Jensen Charity's kart. He still can't find a way through. But to be fair to him, he's still been able to do enough to keep Jake Barnett behind, despite Jake being right on his tail for the entirety that this battle has been going on through this race. Carter's in that really challenging position of not only is he having to think about the driver ahead, he's also thinking about the driver behind. Well, the driver was behind, he's now alongside. You saw that bit of momentum lost there through the chicane for Carter Lundy, and he immediately tapped his helmet to want to work together with Jake, basically saying to Jake, please don't overtake me because I made that mistake. Well, Jake said, absolutely not, son. I am going to overtake you, and I'm going to take the last position on the podium. Well, finally, we have a shuffle around here in this battle for the bottom end of the podium, and Barnett's through into third place. Now, it's his first time here on the rear bumper of Jensen Charity. Can he be the one to finally make a move here on the final lap of the Honda R200 final? Lundy looks to remake an overtake with William Hossack now getting involved as well. He can't quite pull alongside, but what an exit for Carter Lundy. He fires his way back round the outside, but he can't quite hold it there. And back through goes Jake Barnett. Brilliant battling here on the final lap, but all of this is continuing to play into the hands of JJ Allen. These three will follow line astern down into the final couple of corners, but as you see on the other side, JJ Allen exits the final corner and he wins by a considerable margin here in the Honda R200s. What a great race from JJ Allen. Stole away the race lead on only lap 2 or 3 and then drove off into the sunset. Jensen Charity with a defensive masterclass there through the Honda R200 final. Very impressively done there from Jensen Charity, to the frustration of Carter Lundy, but nonetheless, nothing untoward. He takes the points for second place. A very well done there to Jensen, and Jake Barnett stealing away that final position on the podium from Carter Lundy there right in the dying moments. A shame there for Carter. He really deserved a podium position there, but sadly, that tiny mistake through chicane really came to cost him, and he ends up in P4. William Hossack rounds out the top 5 there, well and truly in and amongst that battle for second place, but not quite able to get stuck in. Matty Horspool, a second or two off the back of those drivers battling, and then followed by Hallie Finlater, Alfie Facer, and Jack Clark rounding out the order then. All 9 drivers taking to the flag, but we're about ready for the last final of the day then. It's the A final for the British Pro Kart Championship. Well, I can't quite believe it. We're almost done and dusted here at round number 2 of the UK Kart Series at Shenington. Don't be sad it's over, be happy it's happened. And we are about to be treated to one of the most amazing races. The British Pro Kart Championship never disappoints. Let's see how we go for this one. Clayton Ravenscroft and Craig Day are on the front row, with your UK plate of Bradley Rowe alongside Carl Ruddock on row 2. Then it's Oscar Butley and Ethan Taylor, Aaron Alexander and James Stradwell. Then Max Mannion and Alfie Wilkes round out the top 10. They're followed by Ned Booth and Ian Bagger, your junior champion from last year. Then followed by Aaron Lord and Daniel Katazinski. Then Paul Scaife and Conor McCarthy, followed by Mick Lord, Alfie Wiltshire, Riley Bowen, Charlie Brooks, Daruv Rout, Alfie King and Ronnie Rowe. So the top 3, it looks like, have gone through from the B final, at least according to my grid on my screen. So apologies about the information I told you earlier. It looks as though Daruv Rout, Alfie King and Ronnie Rowe have moved their way through. Well, here we go then. For the final time here today at Shenington, we're racing here at the UK Kart Series, and the British Pro Kart Championships fires off for 10 minutes plus 1 lap of racing. We're almost 3 wide there through Cafe Curve, and a couple of drivers getting properly shuffled out wide. Over the grass goes one of them, and that is not the ideal line there on a Cafe Curve. He's going to lose a lot of time and also a lot of places there through lap number 1. Well, Ravenscroft leads us away then, and he is already trying to break away. Look at that, we're side by side for second place though. Up the inside goes Craig Day, and through follows the number 1. Oh my goodness, threading the needle there. What a move from Aaron Alexander. He's already gone from 7th to 3rd, and we're already halfway through the first lap. Unbelievable from driver of the number 1 kart. 4 positions gained, make that 5 positions gained on the first lap, and that's into second place now for Aaron Alexander. Well, that's played into the hands of Clayton Ravenscroft, hasn't it? He's scampered off by 1.5 seconds on that first lap alone. But issue for him is it's Alexander who now leads the charge in behind. Aaron Alexander leading Craig Day, Bradley Rowe and Oscar Butley as they now look to chase down Clayton Ravenscroft. So, of course, that initial breakaway from the pole really helping him there for Clayton. But now as they settle in to genuine pace, the metronome starts to tick. Who will find that ultimate pace here across the rest of this final? 8.5 minutes of racing still left to go here at Shenington at round number 2 of the UK Kart Series. And battles galore here in the A final of the British Pro Kart Championship. Oh, little cheeky move there down the inside. That was a cheeky one from Ethan Taylor. I think half in defence there on Paul Scaife and half an attack there on James Stradwell when he stayed in position. He's held position there in 9th place. It was actually Mick Lord who was attacking there. He'd already made up the position earlier in the lap on Paul Scaife. And a move ahead as well, Carl Roddick making it past on Max Manium. Well, there is our answer, a 49.6 from Aaron Alexander. New fastest lap of the race. Quicker than Clayton Ravenscroft by a 1.5 tenths of a second. So he's got another 1.3 seconds to find here, but the race is still on for the overall victory. However, comparatively to the rest of the field, both Ravenscroft and Alexander faster than everyone. They were the only drivers on that second lap down in the 49s. Everyone else in the 50s or 51s on that previous lap. As whoa, big move down the inside. That was super late on the brakes and gets a wallop for his troubles as well. That's the number 100 of Ethan Taylor. Sends it up the inside there. I believe that was on James Stradwell, but then the up and under gets sorted on the exit. And no, James Stradwell had already moved ahead, so that was battling with Paul Scaife, I think. Scaife gave him a little bit of a wallop there as he came back through on the inside, and they reshuffled themselves as they were. Well, those two are continuing on here. The 100 of Taylor now looking down the inside into Stratford, but it's not going to work on the brakes then. And battles in behind. I think that might have been the two Lords actually going side by side. Mick and Aaron close to each other on circuit there. Yeah, Mick getting shuffled back there behind Aaron now. So Aaron Lord into 11th, Mick Lord down into 12th, and Alfie Wilkes, Iron Bagger, and Alfie Wiltshire going with them as well. So Iron Bagger in a bit of an Alfie sandwich there in 14th for the moment. But we are quickly flying through this race then, as there's a nice exit from the number 100 of Ethan Taylor. Once again, goes side by side now with Paul Scaife. No love lost between these two, but Scaife stays ahead and holds on to 9th place then as they head on to now lap number 5 of proceedings. And now who's this getting involved in the squabble as well? That'll be Aaron Lord, won't it, who just made the overtake on his namesake a lap or so ago. Now getting stuck in with this battle at the bottom end of the top 10. Back up the inside goes Aaron there. Down at the right-hander, but he can't get a good enough exit to get alongside and get past Ethan Taylor. But the 63 will have to rethink that move either later on in the lap or maybe try again next time around. But these 10-minute races, as we say, go past pretty quickly, and there won't be too long for things to contend with. The leaders, I think, are nose to tail. I do believe Ravenscroft and Alexander are nose to tail almost. 3/10 of a second now between the race leaders. It's Craig Day and Bradley Rowe who are absolutely nose to tail there in their squabble for the last position on the podium. But quickly, Alexander is closing in on Ravenscroft. That gap now less than 4/10 of a second, and there they are on your screen. The number 1 of Aaron Alexander has closed the gap to Clayton Ravenscroft, as we're side by side there down into Stratford between Day and Rowe as well for 3rd place, as the UK plated driver been able to find a way through. No, not quite yet. Pulled alongside there, but was forced to the outside line. Here's the move for the lead though. Oh, aggressive up and over the curb there for the number 1. Oh, what a move there from Aaron Alexander, but we'll go too late on the brakes. They'll run side by side on corner exit, but thank goodness for Alexander. That means that Ravenscroft loses the exit speed, but dives straight back up the inside into T1. They'll run side by side once more into Cafe. Looks to hook up the up and under and get the better exit, will Clayton Ravenscroft. But can he launch an attack? The two teammates here battling down towards Stratford Hairpin. Defending goes the number 1 of Aaron Alexander. Feels under a bit of pressure, but does have the overall pace here on Clayton Ravenscroft. If Aaron can stop defending and get into a rhythm of things, I think it's only a matter of time until he scampers off. And let's see if Clayton knows that as well. I think Clayton might have just missed his chance though. Look at that gap. It's opened up by a couple of kart lengths now, and now Clayton is not close enough to re-send a move up the inside. And like I say, once Aaron gets that bit of a gap with that pace he has, fastest lap of a 49.1, I think he will just scamper off with this one. 49.5 on that one versus a 49.6 for Clayton Ravenscroft behind. Craig Day and Bradley Woe still battling. Let's look at the rain. The rain's coming down here at Shenington once again. Well, could you think it could get any crazier here in the A final here for the British Pro Kart Championship? It's raining, and it's raining heavily here at Shenington. It is really starting to come down, and all of these drivers are on slick tyres. Look at this, using the curves to perfection there is Aaron Alexander. Well, they're going to have to be hooking up those even more through the rest of this race. We've still got just less than 4 minutes left to go. And some heavy precipitation is going to throw the cat amongst the pigeons. Ravenscroft trying to stick with Alexander, but for the moment can't quite keep on the tail of your current race leader. But this now will be a race of 1, how aggressive you want to be with your lap time, and 2, keeping it on the straight and narrow here. Aaron Alexander, all needs to do is just keep it facing the right direction and keep it on the black stuff, but that's going to be easier said than done here around a damp and treacherous Shenington kart circuit. It is raining sideways here. The clouds have quickly come over here at Shenington, and we've gone from what was some quite nice sunshine to absolutely catastrophic rainfall. Look at how pedestrian they are now through the corners, trying to get the power down as the rear just constantly tries to snap on them. Well, battle's still continuing on. The drivers aren't hampered by the rainfall in terms of battles, but it just is going to be more challenging to get the moves done here on the slick tyres. That was the 86 of Carl Ruddock applying the pressure now on Oscar Buckley, as we can now hear the rain on our commentary box. It is that loud. Wow, bucketing it down here at Shenington. My goodness, it is coming down. This is going to be almost impossible here on slick tyres to get through this race. We've got just over 2 minutes still left to go on the clock. Well, it did change in that battle for 6th. Carl Ruddock through on Oscar Buckley, then it changes behind as well. Paul Scaife through now on Max Mannion, and it is only getting heavier. I can't believe the conditions here. It's hail. It's hailing here at Shenington. Unbelievable scenes here in the last race of the day. Look at that camera shot. I feel so sorry for our cameramen out there today. They are getting pelleted now by the hail out there as they bring you these amazing camera shots here from Shenington. Unbelievable scenes here at Shenington as I was going to say rain, the hail only gets harder. How are these drivers keeping it on the black stuff? I do not know. I would have spun off at the first possible opportunity in this race, but Aaron Alexander still leading the way by quite some margin. You might notice the light boxes all on around the circuit. That's not a flag being shown, or it is a flag being shown, but it's not a yellow or a red. It is the yellow and red striped flag, which means slippery surface. So drivers just needing to be careful that the track conditions have changed, but I think they probably knew that without the need for the slippery surface flag, to be honest. Look at that. Oh my goodness. We can barely see through the rainfall now as Aaron Alexander continues to lead us on down into Stratford Corner once more for the 11th time in this race. Well, what was I saying earlier? Aaron Alexander was doing a 49.1. That was the fastest time of the race so far. Well, he's just popped in a 1 minute and 2.2. We've lost 13 seconds of lap time here, and I can only imagine those lap times are going to keep getting worse here. You see now the spray getting kicked up by the slick tyres and the amount of standing water there getting hit by Aaron Alexander. He's got to be so careful here over the last couple of laps of proceedings, because one little snap of oversteer on a puddle and suddenly the kart goes all sorts of light. I say the black stuff it's not quite black anymore as well. Straight on, almost into our camera position there goes one of the drivers. As you see, you saw him there dancing the kart into the corner, just could not get the steering angle on. The kart would not do what he wanted it to do, and straight off the circuit, I think he managed to keep it out the barrier just about. But again, look at the standing water there as Aaron Alexander tries to put the power down and almost loses the kart in a straight line. Oh my goodness, this is unbelievable weather conditions here at Shenington. Have you ever seen anything like this with slick tyres on these Pro Karts? Well, Aaron Alexander will be counting his lucky stars. Only one more lap to go. Whether he can see that the last lap board is out or not, I don't know. But look at him dancing the kart there, down through Park Bend and into Cafe. Where's Clayton Ravenscroft gone? Have we lost him from the race? Has he dropped into the pack? Well, he has. I think he's out of the race, potentially. Craig Day's into second. No, he's just dropped to 5th. I think Ravenscroft just struggling. He's just popped in a 1:11. So from the race lead now, dropping now potentially even out of the top 5 for Clayton Ravenscroft. Craig Day is into second. James Dradwell into third. Bradley Rowe back up into 4th. A UK-plated driver from round 1 at fullback. And Ravenscroft now down into 5th place. But he seems to be, pun intended, a sitting duck out there at the moment, as his lap time's way off the pace of the drivers around him. I think a mechanical issue of some sort for Clayton Ravenscroft. He's able to wrangle the kart round, but not at the same pace as the drivers around him. But here comes Aaron Alexander, was dominant in the dry conditions earlier on in this race, and has been even more impressive in the wet. Take a bow. Aaron Alexander drifts the kart round the final corner to win in the most amazing final here at Shenington. The British Pro Kart Championship A final goes to Aaron Alexander. And who will finish in second place? Things things might happen here on the... Oh, that's a big off! Huge off there! Oh my goodness, through Hanger. That is a very fast section of the circuit, and I said how much the drivers were sliding there on a straight line down the Hanger straight. I wouldn't be surprised if someone goes off through Hanger. That's exactly what has happened. I hope that driver's all okay there in the barriers. That was a sizable off there into the tyre wall for Ethan Taylor on the number 100. I can confirm it is Ethan Taylor who is in the wall there as he moves the tyres off of him. Wow, that's a big off for Ethan. I hope he's all okay. He seems to be, he's certainly conscious in the car. Hopefully, all okay for himself. What a shame to end the race like that for himself, as Ethan was battling so well early on, wasn't he, in the number 100? Sadly, race didn't end how he would have hoped there. But Aaron Alexander takes the victory then in a very topsy-turvy British Pro Kart Championship A final there, followed by Craig Day and James Stradwell in the top 3. Bradley Rowe and Iron Bagger round up the top 5. Followed by Alfie Wilkes. Clayton Ravenscroft did hold on to P7 then with another 111 there on that final lap. He was followed by Oscar Butley, Paul Scaife and Max Manium in the top 10. Then it was Ned Booth, Mick Lord, Aaron Lord, Daniel Kutazinski, Conor McCarthy, Ronnie Rowe, Charlie Brooks, Carl Ruddock, Alfie Wiltshire, Daruv Rao, Riley Bowen, Alfie King and Ethan Taylor, your final drivers there of 23. Well, wow, what a way to end the day here at Shenington. We were treated to some awesome racing there across all 7 of those finals. We knew there might be a bit of rain, but we certainly didn't expect that. That was unbelievable, and I'm now thinking, I'm hoping I can get my little VW up out of the grass. We'll wait and see. Anyway, racing has come to a close here for round number 2 of the UK Kart Series here from Shenington, and what a day it has been. Thank you all so much for joining us here on the live stream. It's been an honour to guide you through all of the action here from Shenington. My name is John Ratcliffe. Make sure you go and drop me a follow at Ratters Media on Instagram if you want to go and drop me a follow and support my commentary journey. I'd really appreciate that, and make sure that you're subscribed to our YouTube channel as well so you don't miss any of the future rounds of the UK Kart Series. Next time out, it'll be round 3 at Houghton Park on the 3rd of May, and we can only hope that the weather doesn't do something like that. I think the drivers are going to take some time to dry off after that last race. Well, from all of us here at Shenington, it is goodbye. We will see you next time out at Houghton Park on the 3rd of May. See you then.